Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in which I'd like to show you how web services work and what kinds of possibilities they provide. In this example we will use a web service which is offered by UPS to allow you the tracking of your deliveries. But first things first, what is a web service? A web service is a service which is being provided by one computer, or rather server, and allows other computers to retrieve information by calling functions it provides. WSDL files are being used to describe the exact methods a service offers and the information it requires in order to return the data, for example an identification number. The communication most commonly works by using SOAP via HTTP and is XML based. And what do we need to use it? Well, it actually isn't all that much. 2 downloads are all you'll need given that you already have a development environment. At first, download the signature tracking package. A download link can be found on the UPS website. This package contains the WSDL files I have just mentioned, so it is technically all we need. However, the WSDL files provide information on the functions in form of XML nodes, which isn't actually all that useful considering we'd like to use those functions within an application. This is where the second download comes into play. And this is a program called Apache CXF, which allows us to convert a WSDL file or the nodes into classes. So just download both of them and unpack them. I've done that already. And as soon as you've done that, navigate into the bin folder of Apache CXF and look for the WSDL to java.bat file. Once you've done that, open the console and navigate into that folder. Now go back to your downloads folder and look for the WSDL file that you'd like to convert. Now type in WSDL to java.bat-client-p, whatever package name you're comfortable with, so I'll just go with com-test WSDL. And now enter the location of your WSDL file, the one you'd like to convert. Click enter and the program will start the conversion. As you can see, it doesn't tell you success or failure, that's just how it works. Go ahead and check the Apache CXF folder and you'll see that it has worked. As you can see, there's the com folder, the test folder and the WSDL folder, so the package that we've chosen. And in there are all the Java classes our WSDL file provides. Alright, now we would probably like to use the classes now, and to do this we first need to add a package. We do that by right-clicking on our project and saying new and package. Remember to type in the name that you've entered during the conversion process. This is important because otherwise it will give you an error. In my case it was com, test and WSDL. I'll just click on finish and it creates the package. Right click on the package and say import, and choose the file system option under general, click on next and then just browse. Select the folder that contains your classes and click on OK. Since we want to add all of them, just put the tick here and it will mark all of the classes. Click on finish and it imports all of them. Now let's get to the actual code. First we need to add a new class, and we can do this the same way we did it before with the package. Just click on class and type in the name of your class. I'll just go with test. Press enter and your class will be created. At first add the namespaces, or rather packages that we're going to use. In my case it's called com, test and WSDL. But I'm also going to need some more, and this is the one Java net URL. And next I can start by declaring some variables. The first one we need is the track service variable, and I'll just type that in right here. I'm gonna call it UPS, and this will basically allow us to retrieve the track port type variable later on, and that one's pretty important as it allows us to trigger the actual request. We also have to provide a response variable in which the information that the web service returns will be stored. So this is our track response, myres, and the UPS security variable will be used to do the whole authentication process. To have a temporary storage for our authentication variables and such, I'll just have some more, and I just copy pasted them to save some time. These are basically just the license key, the username, the password, the inquiry number, the request option, the tracking option, and the path of my WSDL file. The first thing we need to do within our main method is the initialization of our UPS variable. This one's the track service one. So we just say new track service, new URL, and pass the file path variable. And also we need to initialize the UPS security variable. And this UPS security variable requires two tokens. One's called the service access token. I'll call it UPS SVC token as a new service access token, and also the username token, which we'll call username token. And we will probably have to add a new, namespace, and I'll just add that one as well, called UPS security, and it's within our package. Now the service access token, the UPS SVC token, which I've called it, contains the access license number, which is stored in my license key variable, and the username token, as the name suggests already, contains our username and our password. So we say set username and pass it the username variable and also the password. Now all we have to do is we need to add those tokens to our variable, and we do that by saying UPSS, which is the name of my UPS security variable, and then set service access token UPS SVC token, and we do the same thing for our username token. The track port type comes next, and I have already mentioned that before. It's the variable that allows us to trigger our request. In order to initialize it, we need the track service variable, which we've declared as first, basically. So I'll type in track port type, and the name, I'll just call it my port, and we have to retrieve it by saying UPS get track port. Our request itself will get its own variable as well, and that one's called a track request. And the track request variable contains our request option, so we need to say request type, rec type is new request type, and rec type get request option add, and then we just pass it our request option, which I've called RQOPT. Lastly, we just need to give our request some more data, as we haven't yet told it what it is actually supposed to ask for. So we do this by typing in myrec, which was our actual request, set inquiry number, and we pass it our inquiry variable, and myrec set tracking option, TROPT, and also myrec set request, which is our rec type. And our request will be triggered by executing the process track function, which will give our myResponse variable the content. And we just need to give it the request as well as our authentication stuff. Alright, now we still have to add a throws declaration so that it allows us to debug the whole thing. But that's it. Now, before I start the actual debugging, let's have a look at some example data that we will use. I've prepared it right here. I have just tracked one inquiry number, and this is the one we're going to track in our program, and we will see whether it is able to tell us that it has been delivered already or not. Alright, so let's just set a breakpoint right here and start the debug process by saying debug. Okay, here we are, and I'll just click on step over. And we can now start to check the variable. I'll just make this a little bigger and check the shipment array. So we go into activity and just check the last activity that it contains, and we go on status, and as you can see it says delivered. So that tells us our program, or basically our request, has actually worked, and it has told us that our delivery has already been delivered, and also the date, which was the 16th of April. Now, as you can see, web services offer a lot of functions whilst being relatively easy to use. If you're interested in learning more, or you'd like to have a solution that suits your specific needs, visit our website or contact us.